Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to be accurately predicting the 2024 presidential election between Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. So let's begin with the likely states. So first, let's start off with the likely states for Donald Trump and then the likely states for Joe Biden. So Iowa and Ohio will be likely for Donald Trump, or basically whoever the Republican nominee is, whether it's Trump or DeSantis, because Ohio and Iowa have heavily shifted towards the right ever since 2016, and it's just out of reach for Joe Biden. So, and moving on forward in the future, Iowa and Ohio is a likely loss for Democrats. I think Obama would be the last person ever for Democrats, as of right now, to win Ohio and Iowa. So now the likely states for Joe Biden would be Colorado, New Mexico, and the state of Virginia. Virginia could arguably be lean just because Glenn Youngkin had a strong performance back in 2021, but governor's race is very different from the governor's race, especially in Virginia. Governor's race is very different from the general election. And I think it could arguably be lean, but Joe Biden won the state by double digits back in 2020. So those three states will be likely for Joe Biden. Colorado and New Mexico are completely out of reach and out of touch for Donald Trump. I think the closest he could have gotten those states was back in 2016. And even though it was very close in 2016, he still couldn't win it. So do you think Trump would definitely win Colorado and New Mexico in 2024, even though he didn't even win in 2016? No. I think 2016 is the closest Donald Trump can get to at least winning Colorado and New Mexico. But it's out of reach. It's likely for Joe Biden. I could see Joe Biden winning Colorado and New Mexico as much as 10%. So I think those three states should be comfortable for Joe Biden, likely margin. And now moving on to the lean states. So lean states for Donald Trump would be the state of Texas. 2022 midterms voted heavily for Greg Abbott and denied Beto O'Rourke. And I think that goes to show you that Texas is still red. And even though Democrats hope to flip it in 2024, which they tried to do it in 2018 in the Senate, they failed. They almost did it though. And they tried to flip it again in the general election level in 2020. Trump still defeated Biden in a pretty much blue Democratic wave year in 2020. And Democrats tried to flip it in the governor's race in 2022. They failed 3 times. That's 3 times Democrats failed at trying to flip Texas. And will they do it in 2024? I don't think so. Immigrants from the southern border entering Texas to hopefully vote for Democrats. And that's basically their goal. For the immigrants in the southern border entering Texas to hopefully vote blue and flip Texas blue, but that's not working. Trump is very favorable among Hispanics in Texas, and it's not going to flip in 2024. I think the closest Texas would be for Biden would be back in 2020, and he didn't do it then. I don't think he's going to do it in 2024. Texas is lean Republican for Donald Trump or whoever the Republican candidate is. It's just not going to go blue in 2024. The 3 lean states that Joe Biden will win in 2024 would be the state of Minnesota with a lean margin, Michigan by a lean margin, and Joe Biden will win New Hampshire in 2024 against Donald Trump. All of those 3 states by lean margins. So let's begin with Michigan or Minnesota. Donald Trump, the closest Trump could get to winning Minnesota would be in 2016 when he narrowly lost it by 1%. That is the luckiest Trump has gone ever closely to winning Minnesota. And I think it doesn't get closer to that. I think Joe Biden wins it by good, I would say 5%. So, and Minnesota has not heavily shifted, but pretty much hasn't shifted to the right at all ever since 2020. So, Minnesota should be a pretty much comfortable win for Joe Biden. And also, Amy Klobuchar destroyed the Republican candidate in the 2022 midterms. So I don't see it going red in a very long time. And I don't see it going red as long as Donald Trump is the Republican nominee. And Donald Trump is pretty much, he's not very popular in Minnesota, so I don't think Trump has a very much, you know, a very favorable shot at winning Minnesota. I just don't think so. And same goes for Michigan. Trump did win Michigan back in 2016. So Trump definitely has a higher shot at flipping Michigan than he does to Minnesota. And I think we can all agree on that. Trump did it once in 2016. He flipped Michigan. Um, so, but I just don't think it's going to happen in 2024. I think Michigan rejects Donald Trump again, just like how they did in 2020 when it flipped from red to blue. And they elected Gretchen Whitmer by, I believe, double digits. And she did so well. And Michigan, the suburbs in Michigan, the Detroit area in Michigan is shifting to the left. And Michigan is not going to be red in 2024. It's leaning for Joe Biden. And the state of New Hampshire, I think will go to Joe Biden by around 4 to 5%. Donald Trump lost it, I believe, back in 2016 by 1 to 2%. I think that's the closest he could possibly get to flipping New Hampshire. Other than that, I think Donald Trump would perform better in New Hampshire in 2024 than he did in 2020. I think 2020 is the most Donald Trump would, I guess, lose New Hampshire by. He lost it by around 7 to 8%. I think he will still lose it by not as much as 7 to 8%. He will lose it, but by less. I don't think he's going to lose it as much as he lost it in 2020. I think it could be a little bit closer, but not as close as in 2016. So in between 1 to 7%, I'm going to say around 4 to 5% for Joe Biden in the state of New Hampshire. Tilt states, I forgot to mention one lean state for Donald Trump, and that is the state of Florida. I think Florida is going to be lean for Donald Trump, and if Ron DeSantis is the nominee, it will be even more red. It just gets redder and redder, and especially if Ron DeSantis is the nominee, which I will make a DeSantis versus Biden election prediction, so stay tuned for that, which should be the next video. So Florida has heavily shifted red, and I think it's a lost cause for Democrats. I don't think Democrats will win Florida in another couple decades from now, maybe in the next 20 years. And even in the next 20 years, it just gets redder and redder. So Florida is looking like a safe Republican state, if not likely. So Florida is not going blue in a long time from now. I think Obama would be the last Democratic candidate to even win Florida within the next 30 years or so. So Florida is not going blue in 2024 and beyond. I just don't see it. And I think we can all agree that Democrats and Republicans, and it's just a lost cause for Democrats. Florida is just going to get redder and redder every year. And it's looking like a solid Republican state. So Democrats shouldn't bet too hard in Florida. They're just going to waste money. So, and now moving on to the tilt states. Let's begin with the tilt states for Joe Biden. Joe Biden in 2024, I think he will win Pennsylvania by tilt margin. And I think Joe Biden in 2024, as if right now, will win the state of Arizona by tilt margin. So those two tilt states, Pennsylvania and Arizona, for Joe Biden in 2024, I think Pennsylvania is a state where Trump back in 2016 obviously flipped it, but it went back to the Democrats in 2020, and will it flip back to Donald Trump in 2024? I think it's very possible, because obviously Trump did it in 2016, but 2024 could potentially be a similar to 2016, but I don't think 2024 will be exactly the same as 2016. Maybe it could be close as 2016, and Donald Trump could perform very well. But when it comes to Pennsylvania, as we saw in the 2022 midterms, nominating Dr. Oz wasn't a good choice. It just helps Joe Biden win it again in 2024. I don't think Joe Biden will win Pennsylvania as much as he did in 2020. I think it'll be much closer. Even though it was close in 2020, Joe Biden just won it by 2%. I think Joe Biden in 2024 will win Pennsylvania, but by a lesser margin, maybe of 1%, maybe even under 1%. So, and as far as Arizona, I actually had this one toss up, but making leaving Arizona as toss-up would be very boring for you guys, so I had to choose either candidate. I went with Biden just because, as if right now, this is obviously an early prediction, but as if right now, I don't see a valid reason to pick Donald Trump to win Arizona. Donald Trump got destroyed. He got hammered in Arizona in the 2022 midterms. He lost the governor's race, and it was previously plus 15 for Doug Ducey. And Democrats flipped a plus 15 seat, which obviously the candidate was different. It was Carrie Lake. But going from plus 15 for Doug Ducey to Carrie Lake losing it, yeah, Arizona is one of those Republican states that just rejects Donald Trump. It really does. They rejected Donald Trump in 2020. Arizona is a state that is pro John McCain, pro Mitt Romney, anti Donald Trump. So Republicans would call, I would say, those type of voters in Arizona neocons. Arizona is a neocon Republican state, is what Republicans would call them. And they reject Trump, and they support or approve the Republican neocons. And Arizona Republicans, and in order for Donald Trump, I say this time and time again, in order for Donald Trump to win Arizona again, he needs to have the John McCain style voters to vote for him in order to win it. Winning the independent support in Arizona obviously pretty much guarantees you a victory in 2024, which Donald Trump, number one, needs to focus on getting the independent support in Arizona for 2024 and winning back those John McCain style voters. Because Donald Trump could obviously win Arizona. He has it. He has it in him. He did it in 2016. He won it by 3 points. But in 2020, I would say he got unlucky. A lot of those John McCain style voters ended up going towards Biden, and Trump needs to take away those voters. He needs to, I would say, go with the John McCain approach, which Trump is not going to do. And as long as he doesn't do that, the John McCain voters who are Republicans may not even vote for Donald Trump, and it might be blue again. At this point, I leave Arizona toss-up. I don't quite think Biden will win it, but I also don't see a reason to pick Trump to win Arizona. So that's what I'm going to say for Arizona. I'm just going to leave it at that. We're obviously early in Trump. As we get closer to 2024, the presidential election, general election in 2024, I could possibly change my mind. But as of right now, I just don't see a valid reason to have Arizona going red. So I have a toss-up right now, but obviously I'm going to leave it tilt blue just to, not bore you guys by leaving it toss-up. So, and now the tilt states for Donald Trump would be 3 states. North Carolina. I think Trump will win North Carolina in 2024 by a tilt margin. I think Trump will win Georgia in 2024. He will flip it back from blue to red. And I think Donald Trump will flip Nevada for the first time in 2024 as well. And, that is 4 tilt states. Donald Trump would also flip Wisconsin in 2024 as well. And first, let's start off with Nevada. Nevada is slowly shifting to the right. Obviously, Trump lost in 2016. Trump lost it in 2020. The Republican Party in Nevada showed some progress in 2022 by electing a Republican governor, but a Democratic senator. So Nevada's a weird state. They like Republican governors, but Democratic senators, and they usually vote blue in the general election. They elected Obama by comfortable margins. They barely elected Hillary Clinton, and they barely elected Joe Biden in 2020. What would they do in 2024? I think they will vote red in the general election, which you don't really see that from Nevada. Nevada is just one of those states where it's just shifting red. I mean, if you look at the shifts from Nevada, I can tell you right now, in the future, it's looking like a more and more of a red state. And I think Joe Biden can definitely win it because he did in 2020. And I think he can do it again, but will he is the question. His approval in Nevada is also very low, and pretty much for the entire country, but specifically in Nevada, him having a low approval won't help him at all in 2024. So I think Donald Trump will win the state of Nevada by under 1%. That's how close I think it will be. So no matter who the winner is in Nevada in 2024, whether it's Trump or Biden, I think Biden wins it by under 1%, or Trump wins it by under 1%. I'm going with Trump winning Nevada by under 1% in 2024, a tilt margin. Now, Georgia. I think Trump got a little bit unlucky in Georgia in 2020. Let's be for real. Democrats got a high turnout, especially from the black African American voter turnout. They got that to skyrocket. Will they again in 2024 is a question. I think not. I think Trump takes back Georgia. He barely lost it too. He only lost it by 0.2%. So I think Trump's going to win it in 2024. And as long as Trump, I would say, does well with the Brian Kemp voters, if Trump wins over the Brian Kemp voters, I think he has a good chance at flipping back or taking back Georgia in 2024. And North Carolina, I think, will remain red in 2024. I think Joe Biden had a shot at it in 2020. He did not win it. Trump won it in 2020. So that goes to show you that if Joe Biden couldn't win North Carolina in 2020, do you really think he would win it in 2024 if he couldn't even win it in a bluer year in 2020? So I just don't see it. North Carolina remains red in my view for 2024. And the state of Wisconsin is a little bit of a toss-up for me. I could see Biden winning it. I could see Trump winning it. No matter who the winner is, it's similar to Nevada. I think the winner will win it by under 1%. I just think it's going to be that close. Because Trump won it by under 1% in 2016. Biden won it by under 1% in 2020. So the winner in 2024, whether it's Trump or Biden, or maybe even DeSantis, I think they're going to win it by under 1%. Wisconsin will be very, very close. It's going to go down to the wire. And I think Trump wins it by under 1%. He flips it. And that is it. This is my current 2024 presidential election update prediction as of right now. As we get closer, like I said, to the 2024 presidential election or even the Republican primaries, my prediction will change. This is just a current one as if right now. So just to get this away, this is not a final prediction. It will change. But as of right now, if the presidential election was held today, this would be the map in my opinion. 271 for Joe Biden. This is a very tight election to 267 for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just 3 electoral votes away from winning in 2024 as if right now. So as we get closer to the 2024 presidential election, as we get closer to the 2024 GOP primaries, Trump could definitely, I would say, have a better shot at winning. So as of right now, this is the map. Let me know if you agree with my electoral map for as if right now.